presence in the Republican movement, but you know, it's really important to encompass as students and welcome them with open arms as much as possible. So just some things that I've noticed and some pointers and ways to outreach to youth. Student groups love to be invited to things. They love to feel welcome and they love to be invited. They are cheap and poor a lot of the time, so scholarships or opportunities will always bring students in. Low student fees are like very, very important. And if you see a student or know a student that might be interested in going to something, offer to scholarship them. Offer to help pay for their group's gas to make it out to the Republican event, the Senate district meeting, or send their groups pizzas. Food is like a huge thing that is important to groups. You'll find that you can mobilize people with some free pizzas and get a turnout that's twice as large just because you're offering, you know, to bring them food. You know, kids are notorious for thinking that they know everything, but libertarian students really do know a whole lot. So don't underestimate the capabilities of students and their dedication, because they are the volunteers that will go, you know, door knocking and that will help push ideas or petition or fight for things that they think are really important. Like an example that I like to use is how Lit on Fire, that some of the student groups were about food truck ordinances that were in Houston and homeless feeding ordinances that have been imposed. There's local issues that really get even non-Republican and non-libertarian students really hot that they would love to help with. So if you have an issue like that, definitely that's a way to connect with them. Just make it a point to reach out or to do outreach. If you have a group or an organization, or if you work with an organization, students love to have guest speakers from out of town come in. They love to be invited to events, and they love to have organizations have a presence at their events. It's really cool when you are just randomly approached by somebody that has an organization that you didn't know about that might agree with you on issues, and you can work with them on that. I know every time that I've been approached by somebody with an organization that I've made it a point to either have them come out and speak to my Liberty on the Rocks chapter, or to have them go speak to a YAL chapter, or to make sure that they have a table at my next conference. Events with socials are always really a plus, and that's what SFL does really right, and because they sponsor it, but we always try to throw socials after every convention and stuff. And you really need to understand what motivates students and meet them on their level, and being as accepting as possible. So I'll pass it to Ella. I'm sure she has some insight too.
Yeah, I mean, I just sort of want to reiterate how important it is to like attend student group events. As a student group, now I'm a former student group leader. We had our chapter elections, so that was cool. It's really hard to get students out to events sometimes, and it's nice to just have even a few friendly faces in the room. So, you know, if you have the time to make it to an event that's going on, it's really great. I mean, I know we had at the YAL convention, there were quite a few community members who showed up, and so that was really nice. Another thing is, yeah, speaking to student groups is great. Like, if you want to promote your organization, like your local RLC charter, you can go, if there's a Young Americans for Liberty chapter or any sort of pro-liberty student group in the area, I would highly recommend going in and talking to them, and, you know, even if it's just to like offer advice and moral support, you know, it's great, you know, to have that. I don't know. Yeah. Most of everything that I would have said. So.
Okay, cool. I think that it's just best if we like take questions from you guys. I think that would be like the most productive way. Okay, yeah.
If you can, separate mainstream student Republicans from student liberty supporters, and tell me what percentage of your student body is in the latter. How big an influence are you on a campus?
Yeah, okay. Well, so I don't do as much on-campus activism as I would like. I'm more of kind of the, I don't know, a liaison and a coordinator and organizer for groups, and I advise groups more so. But I have worked with groups on campus, like that's how I initially got involved. And I do go table with the groups in my chapter, especially when I'm, you know, on campus or with them for some reason, or when the date's convenient. So I think that I'm pretty biased, and I would tell you that most people are liberty-minded. You know, I mean, when I'm talking to people on campus and we have cool stuff out on our table, we're offering free books, we're having fun, we have the Nolan chart out ready for them to take the political quiz and fall, you know, in that diamond somewhere. People have, like, liberty-minded ideas. You know, the campus in Houston is probably just generally more liberal, but the people that we have approaching our table are always really interested in our, you know, our ideas. And we have a substantial college Republicans group at University of Houston that co-hosts events and socials and things with us. So I think, I mean, we have, let's see, the group started off with maybe 5 hard members at the beginning of fall. And it's grown to have meetings that are about 20 kids that are pretty dedicated and will agree to go out and table once a week and come to a meeting once a week and organize and write blogs and take pictures and set up and take down. So for a campus organization that's just budding, I think that 20 is a pretty substantial number as compared to the like college Republicans, which were pretty inactive last year. And now have, I don't know if they host meetings, I know that they don't table. So our, you know, the Liberty students are more dedicated, I would argue that. But I couldn't tell about size, maybe you would know.
Yeah, that is a really good question. I know in Colorado, our groups are so young, it's hard. Like, I know the chapter that I was basically running, we had 5 people who would show up to stuff regularly, but they were dedicated and they would show up to everything. And we have, our email list has like 100 people on it, but you know, like, a good event we'd get anywhere from 5 to 20, it just sort of depended. I think it's more influential, the student groups are more influential in their presence more so than in their numbers, if that makes sense. Like, there might not be a lot of Liberty students, but we are at least getting the word out there and you know, trying to make an impact as best we can. I think we're more effective than the college Republicans at our school. I actually tried to join the college Republicans in 2008, and it turned out the chapter was defunct, and I wasn't about to go start a new one. And so they have reiterated themselves, but they very rarely do anything except for some GPA redistribution thing, which they kind of copied from us. So I don't know. So I think, I mean, if copying is the best form of flattery, then I guess we were doing something right. So I don't know.
Does anyone else have any particular questions? Yeah, Matt.
What is since this is an RLC convention, what is the RLC doing wrong? When you have a get-together after a convention, there might be 100, 200 people in the room. At this convention, the membership total may be 60. So what is the RLC not doing right, or what can they improve on?
Yeah. I think that appealing and finding, I guess RLC is pretty much chapter-based. Is that right? Or, yeah, okay. So I think it's important for these individual chapters to go out and reach out to these YAL chapters or the Students for Concealed Carry groups that they can find. SFL is a database of pro-liberty groups by state. So it is easy enough to go to the Students for Liberty website and find groups that are in your campus or in your area, in your city. Reaching out to Liberty on the Rocks chapters is another way. I think that the outreach is maybe where the rift is. Like I said, students are on budgets, so if you want them to come to things, helping them get there is major. Carpooling or offering carpools is something that, you know, I always am coordinating carpools to everything. I just post up on my Facebook. If anyone needs a free ride, I'm paying for it, so just come join and come on, and I'll bring pizzas out to groups, and that's me reaching out to student groups, and that's, you know, when they have somebody, a representative of an organization come up to them and say, I would like for your group to attend this, or I would like to speak to your group and bring you guys pizzas, or I would like to have one of your students and representatives come talk to our chapter. Making that bridge, just like with everything else, is the most crucial in my opinion. And being perceived as welcoming is another thing, and I think that just like the mainstream Republicans definitely had difficulty with that, as I felt when I attended my conventions and stuff, just being that young person that was probably somebody that supported someone they didn't support. But RLC doesn't have that much of a problem because, you know, we think alike. But making sure to seem open-minded and welcoming, and then again, presenting things that would be of interest to students, and knowing what that is and being willing to do that and go the extra step would be my advice.
Yeah, well, I think John and I are the only students that I know of here. I don't know, is anyone else a student? Well, I mean, who were actually RLC
Student of Liberty.
here for the RLC convention, not just presenting as delegates or guests. Anyway, well, there's the carpool from Colorado. That was great. I got kidnapped to come. No, I'm kidding, but it was great to have the opportunity to have the carpool, because I couldn't have afforded to come. I couldn't afford a flight here, and I know that, you know, as like Noelle was saying, students are poor, and if you can facilitate them getting somewhere by providing a carpool, by, you know, giving them a really reduced price to come somewhere, or, you know, free entrance, like that sort of stuff. Free booze and food always helps too. So I mean, if you really want to get students more involved, you reach out, you find the student groups like Young Americans for Liberty, like Students for Liberty, like the College Republicans. You know, you can invite them, and maybe there's a Liberty Republican on there. You sort of have to. I think the vetting process is a little bit more difficult with that.
What type of businesses would want to sponsor like an event, sponsor pizza and food? Like, what type of businesses are interested in, you know, students?
Okay, well, this is an interesting example, and we'll see how this goes. But so, for instance, the Texas State Group, their April innovative activism was legalization for 420. And so they had a local smoke shop that agreed to sponsor them, and they gave them a whole bunch of stuff to give out on campus, and also things to sell on campus. And part of the proceeds went to that shop, and then part of the proceeds went to the group. So connecting on issues, if there are things like that, there's smoking bans on campus just for cigarettes, so some tobacco shops are interested. Small businesses, like there's personally owned sandwich shops that do the same thing, and I've had great deals from different companies. Like everywhere that we've hosted different events has always given us rooms for free, been willing to give drink discounts and stuff. It's really about finding those like-minded small business owners, which in the Republican Party should be pretty vast and readily available. So I think that probably is a suggestion. Did you have something to add to that, or a question?
Well, in I think the last year's SOL conference, there was a Lau's Taco Shop from Boulder that the Kane got.
Oh, cool.
To sponsor.
Yeah, no,
And there was a bunch of stickers from Lau's, like this Hawaiian themed taco shop in Boulder. I have yet to go to the taco shop, but
in Colorado.
Yeah, so definitely.
Totally got them to bankroll.
That's so cool, yeah. Yeah, and that's the same thing. Texas State finds places like that all the time that are just business owners that are willing to, at least if someone will give a tray of cookies, like, that works. You know, I mean, any business should have allocated funds, especially like chains and things that they can donate to stuff. And Yale and SFL are both nonprofit, so that, you know, there's a write-off there too. Yeah, Dave.
I wish I had a question, but actually we're running out of time, so we've got about 5 more minutes. Take a few more questions. And
does anyone else have a question? Yeah.
Yeah, you talking about U of H College Republicans. My brother, this last month, was trying to be part of that. He brought in 17 new members from frat, and then they weren't allowed to vote. So he knows firsthand what's going on with U of H College
Send
Republicans.
all of those 17 members over to the Young Americans for Liberty chapter.
Well, my question was based on that, and I'll get them involved with that. But at a certain point, and I know with the Houston Liberty on the Rocks, great. I see it on Facebook, great movement. I'll kind of go there in Houston.
Awesome. Yeah.
But my question is, how many of those guys can you get into the party? Because, for example, U of H College Republicans, you're right. It's just a resume builder for 3 guys that control the whole structure.
Yeah.
And
they're not even really political action guys.
They're not, and they don't want to do outreach or whatever. They don't care. And So what happens is those guys run U of H College Republicans, yet they get the internships. They get they're able to go to DC and say, I'm the so-and-so for this, whatever. And because it is a traditionally structural thing, they don't check that, what are you doing? Or they don't care about that. They're, okay, here's an internship in DC with this congressman, whatever. So why not?
I think that
How can you get those guys from
yeah.
Yao to say, you know what, screw that, let's take over the U of H College Republicans, then you get the internships and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think that, well, Young Americans for Liberty, like, is, an organization that is, like, in the forefront of the movement and at, the GOP convention and things like that, too. So I wouldn't ever discourage any Young Americans for Liberty people to go try and take over the college Republicans groups, because I've seen a lot of those leaders do that. But at the same time, I wouldn't encourage them to leave their Young Americans for Liberty chapter, because it is, it represents their ideas, and it's not like a third party thing. It is, within the Republican Party. Gal Action, we have a PAC that supports people like Justin Amash and Senator Paul and stuff. So, yeah.
Well, no, go on.
Yeah, no.
I had a couple of questions that came to mind with what Tim was saying. My daughter goes to UT.
Cool.
As far as I can tell, she's never seen anything from a YL chapter at UT, which is it's the biggest university in the state. So I understand that. And there's Libertarian Longhorns there, but she thinks they're too crazy.
Okay.
She doesn't want to be involved with them.
Yeah. So I mean, Yao leaves like the freedom for the group to kind of be organic and take on whatever entity that it wants. And Austin is just a little bit wacky, so that's the way that their kind of group has gone. And our groups in Oklahoma are not anything that you would see in like Middle Texas. But if she's interested, I'd love to talk to her.
Well, she's going to graduate very soon.
Okay, yeah. And I like to hear things like that too, because I try to be very proactive with all the groups in my region, and that's an interesting point, and that's something that groups too. It's hard because they become such close friends that they want to take the group, in whatever direction that they think is most important. And crypto anarchy has been, a big thing at UT, and like things like that.
Well, the people in Libertarian Longhorns are all now like graduated mostly, but they're still hanging around UT.
Yeah, and there's always like that chance for a new leader to pop up and bring things in. And we're also trying to do, just like we're talking about outreach, through different groups. YAL needs to be, YAL groups and Libertarian Longhorns and things like that need to be doing outreach to more people. I mean, they need to be bringing other people in, people that just aren't as radical as they are, or people that are less radical as they are, or even more radical, and need to take on more of this like of an umbrella approach as opposed to such a hard line one way or the other, because the movement is large and it is accepting. So I think Ella had something to add on to your ad lib about the college Republicans and Libertarian groups.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned internships. There are a lot of pro-liberty internship opportunities as well that you can access when you're involved with groups that are under the SFL umbrella or that are YAL chapters. And so, I mean, if that's something that is really important to your brother or his friends, I mean, you could definitely point them in that direction as well, because they might not necessarily be an internship with a congressman, but you can have an internship with the Cato Institute or through the Koch internship program.
Well, Steve Stockman is looking for interns.
Yeah, there's Liberty candidates that, I mean, and if you're in this region and like you're somebody like that, or all of my YAL chapters know that they can come talk to me, and I have the ability to connect them with people like Dave that would be willing to connect them with Steve Stockman or with Cato, like through Ella and stuff. Did you have to?
My point, I don't want to say how strong are you, what I'm saying, or my point was, I think YAL's a great thing, and I want to see YAL guys like in Harris County running the Harris County Republican Party.
Yeah, so
I want the
and there's a lot of them that are interested in and like I said, I was there and they're there and they know. And Matt comes out, to our Liberty on the Rocks group with his precinct vacancy stuff, and also we have people that are going out and that are actively going to recruit these groups because they know you find liaisons in going out to things. I've become one of those liaisons. And am willing to point those kids that are looking for political action in that direction, and those kids that are looking to go the think tank route into that route, and we can feed them into internships. The Liberty movement is ripe and looking for, with internships and looking for people to get involved in things like that too, and young people is where it's at for sure. Susanna, did you have something to add too?
Yeah, something, like I lived in Houston, so I moved there fall 2011. And so I tried to coordinate a campaign with the University of Houston College Republicans, and they weren't really big. But the y'all chapter that Noelle has started, and Noelle does a fabulous job, so listen to everything she's saying. Sorry.
No, it's true.
But the interesting thing is, I worked on Senator Cruz's campaign, and I worked for him here in Austin, but the thing is that when we asked volunteers to come out, more volunteers from the YAL chapter came to help Senator Cruz, and there were some college Republicans and people that I met and friendships that I built up came out and helped Senator Cruz as well. But that's where the workers are. And if students are really concerned about who they're going to get internships with, I can go and I can pay my $25 to say I was a member of college Republicans and they work for where I went. But did they do a lot? Was I really involved? No, it's the campaigns that you work on, it's the letter of recommendations that you get from the campaign that eventually help you get the internships with the congressman. If you want an internship with the congressman, I think it's pretty common knowledge that you go work on his campaign and help and get to know and really feel strongly about that congressman and what their stance are. And you know, the Liberty chapter, you know, they want to help Liberty candidates and they go out and work. So it depends on, like Noelle said, what kind of congressman or internship or think tank that you want to get an internship with, be affiliated with. You know, so it's kind of to each their own. I know the U of H College Republican chapter, they've had a lot of hardships recruit because it is such a community campus. And what Noelle has is a very central location. People from all over come, and she's just done a really knockout job doing everything that she's doing. So that's
my point is, I'm not trying to say that. Well, maybe I'm not being clear. For example, Gal, I'm listening to you. I've seen the results. It's a great movement, and I'm going to be part of it. But politically, and this we had the same thing with our group. Is if you have the UH College Republicans, that's a good opportunity for you to just go in and take it over too.
Yeah.
And then you're able to do that.
No, I totally understand, and I mean, I think that there's like you push people away when you necessarily like label, you know, and like try and affiliate too hardly with one group or another. And so where we are a separate entity, and I'm, you know, speaking on behalf of like these organizations that would, you know, behoove the Liberty Republicans to reach out to more. College Republicans definitely is something that you need outreach to because a lot of those people don't understand like Liberty principles, and it's important to change those minds. YAL is already minds that are changed and ready to be mobilized and work for the same ideas, whereas you'll meet College Republicans that are not interested in supporting candidates like Ted and are for Dewhurst or somebody instead, and that, you know, are not looking to support social issues like we are and perpetuate that within the Republican Party. I think we're probably out of time.
Yeah, time is
So thank you guys all for coming.
Whose phone is this? I knocked it down.
Yeah. It's okay. I think yours turned off.
Yeah, I did. It ran out of